Hello, Sirah farmers. So today I will be telling you how I was able to raise over 4,000 chickens, which is broilers, for my clients.
Look how
And raising broiler
yeah.
chickens is not really hard. At the same time, it is hard. But if you understand the principle of how you can manage them at a tender age, then you should be able to take it higher in a longer run. So today I want to just tell you how I was able to raise over 4,000 chickens for my clients, and I want to give you the secret on how I did it.
Hi guys, in Sirah farm we produce all types of birds. We also sell all type of birds and all type of feed. So if you are passionate about farming and you want to go into farming, you can also contact us for your seed. If I say your seed, I mean your chicks, your equipment, so that you can start your own business at a very low cost.
Now, the question is, how was I able to raise over 4,000 boilers for a client? Now, there are some things I jotted down, and there are some steps I followed just for me to achieve that success. And for you to achieve those success, you need to know those things. And one of the things that I know I started from is the housing. Housing is one of the things that you must ensure, and boilers are those fat white birds that doesn't need heat. All right, and for you to rear them successfully, you have to ensure that you have a good housing for them. That housing I'm talking about is a place where there will be a lot of ventilation. A lot of ventilation need to be provided for them, just for them to feel around, like just for them to feel walk around. Because if there is heat stress in the farm, trust me, you occur some mortality based on what I told you in my last video. So just for you to be able to be successful in this poultry farming, you need to understand the housing and how the housing work. The housing needs to be ventilated, like a lot of ventilation needs to be in the home, in the pen. So that is the thing, that is one of the things you need to know. And for the roofing, I also, the roofing has to be like um a upper layer and a down and a lower layer. What am I trying to say? Upper layer means that there will be a space between the upper layer and the lower layer. The upper layer, that space means where ventilation can also come in from the what? From the can come into the pen. That is what the upper layer and the lower layer mean. And the housing is actually made by wood. All right, so just wood. We use wood generally, except the pillars that we make use of iron. But aside that, everything was actually made by wood. Apart from those pillars, everything was actually made by wood. So that is what I have to tell you about the housing. Now, the next thing that we also consider is the feeding aspect. The feeding for the in the aspect of feed, the next thing we also did is feed. So in the aspect of feed, we make sure that we try to make nourishable feed for them, because we are actually selling them at 6 weeks. So due to that, we have to make a very good feed for them. And one more thing you also need to understand about poultry, about broiler farming, is that feed is one of the things that take a lot of expenses in the farm. So due to that, we also need to formulate our feed. All right, and we use some ingredients which I will highlight here. For the this thing, for the we make use of maize. We make use of maize, which is 550 kg. We make use of soya beans, which is 250 kg. We make use of soya wheat, which is 100 kg. We make use of bone meal, which is 40 kg. We make use of limestone, which is 60 kg, and the rest are additives. 300 grams, 3,000 grams. That is for boiler premix. Then mesoline 1,000 grams, which is methylene, I've mentioned the name. Then lysine, we also make use of 1,000 grams, and salts, we also make use of 3,000 grams. So that is how we were able to we were able to formulate boiler starter feed for the boilers, and they were actually growing very well due to the feed was actually nutritious for them. And with that, we were able to reduce cost of production in that process. So the next thing we also did was water. In the early stage, we will try as much as possible to make sure that the water we are giving them is actually good. All right, the water we are giving them is actually good. And most of the oral treatments that we have in poultry farming are make use of water. So even the vaccine, the drugs. So anytime we want to give them drugs or vaccine, we also make sure that, and that, let me just use the aspects of vaccine. We also make sure that we put milk in the water. We let the water be warm, and before we administer the this thing to before we administer the water to the birds. So one of the things we also did was actually water, and the other thing we also make sure of is biosecurity. All right, biosecurity, one of the things that we also ensure that we implement. Biosecurity are those, like, one of the things are sawdust. All right, as I said before in my earlier video, I said that we don't use sawdust in the early stage of every chick. We use make use of wood shaving, and we now apply what, a wood, a carton on top of it. So that was how we were able to manage those birds at the very early stage. So at that process, another thing you need to understand in the biosecurity is, as I said, in the building aspect, we use wood, and there are ventilation. So we try to make sure that every little holes, that's any small holes that any kind of predator can enter, like snake or rat, we make sure that we cover them. So that is one of the things we have as biosecurity. Now the next thing is about stocking density. Stocking density is also one of the things that we also ensure, and most farmers don't even take it very important, but it is important understand the um, if you understand the stocking density you have in your farm. What is stocking density? Stocking density is an actual number or estimate number that farmer use to estimate the total numbers of flogs they need to put in the farm. So what am I saying? If you have 1,000 square meter of 1,000 square meter and you want to rear boilers. So that 1,000 square meter, the beds that it can occupy, I'm talking about boilers. The beds that can occupy that 1,000 square meter is actually 1,000 square meter, because one bed, 1 square meter for one chicken. So that is how the principle works. So in the aspect of boiler farming, we use 1 square meter for one broiler chicken, 1 square meter for one broiler chicken. So that is how the principle works. So in this 4,000 birds, we use about 4,000 square meters, and that is the stocking density for this thing. So another thing is the next thing that we also the next thing we also implement was actually temperature. Right now we are actually in hot season. The season is really hot. So due to that, we need to sometimes we do bait them. We do bait the frogs. Even the time we sow them, we bait them just to make sure that the temperature is low. And we also install industrial fan in the farm, just to make sure that the heat is not too much. And we were able to know when how are we able to know when the heat is too much? We make use of this. All right, this tell us when the heat is too much. All right, this is what we use to detect if the heat is too low or is too hot. Or in terms of rainy season, you can also use this. So but in dry season, this is what we use, and we also sell this in Sirah farm. If you come to our farm, we can offer you this. Is an humidity. So this is what we use as temperature to make sure that the temperature will be stable, the temperature in the farm. Now, the next thing we also need take note is record keeping. Record keeping is one of the things we also ensure, and as you can see, all these are the formulas that we use. All right. So every feed, every penny of every little amount, every naira that we spend on the birds, we make sure that we calculate it. And I want every farmer to embrace the art of recording. All right, try to record everything, everything. Even though you spend 1 naira on those birds, write it down just to make sure that and whenever you want to start selling, it's not when about 2 or 3 days that you want to sell. It's okay, what have I spent so far? All those things are wrong. Try as much as possible to make sure that you write everything accordingly. Write everything accordingly. Everything, every expenditure that you have incurred, write everything down. So when you want to sell, you will have a normal price. And even though your price doesn't meet the market or is below the market, is your luck. So that is another thing I need to tell you. And the last one is market research. In the aspect of those 4,000 pairs, we were able to do a very large market research. And that large market research is not an easy one because we didn't even sell in one state. We sell like 3 states before we were able to dispose those birds. Which state? We sold in Lagos, we sold in Ibadan and Ogun State. So those are the 3 states we were able to sell all over. We were able to sell out those 4,000 pairs. So it was not an easy task for us, but we thank God that we were able to dispose out those birds. So if you find this video very interesting, please try and like and subscribe for more videos. Thank you all.